Okay, so I'm going to make another video, and I'm sorry, I'm just frogging back because I've decided to modge again. So I've just double crocheted or anchored around my side post so that when I come to do my border later, I've got something to work into. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chains, and then we're going to work back on this. Now I know I've got this on the other video, but I wanted to go into this a little bit more because I just feel like we can do better. So get your wool ready, go behind your base and pull your yarn through. So you're working it as a double crochet but as a front post, so you're not going into a stitch head, you're going around, and then pick up your yarn again and just go through that double crochet. So this part isn't really considered a stitch, this is more of a kind of a base to work around. So let's just stop for a moment and let's just look at where we're going to go. So the first section we're going to go through, we're going to go underneath that double crochet and we're going to work 1 double crochet there and pull it back through and finish it off. Then we're going to work between our loops here. So when we put it up, so when we did our loops, we did 2, and then we have the bit that we joined here. And if you pull them apart, you can see, I don't know if you can see that as much. Let me just put my finger there. Hang on, trying to look at this screen so I can make sure I'm pointing in the right direction. So there you go. So you can see here, let's just pull that out. Right there's a loop behind it. I know it's not far off my own skin colour, so let's do this. Let's see if this hack works here, because we've got another colour behind it. So if we split it open, will it allow me to have something where you can see quite clearly? There we go. You can see that there's a loop just here, and you can see the hole there and there. So we're going to work through underneath. We're going to go under there and pull through, and then what we're going to do is we're going to do the same there and go through twice. So in this situation, it's not necessarily important for us to get a certain amount of stitches. It's more for effect. Now, if you find this difficult, as I said in the previous video, you don't have to do this. If you want to keep it looking like that, you can. It's not a problem. So double crochet around, so that's our first one. That then pulls that in a little bit more. Then we're going to go underneath, but we're going to go through the back of the top of the stitch that was worked with the 3. So the treble that we worked in before, we worked in 3 loops into there. We're going to go for that hole because it's the easiest space. Take our hook back through. So it goes through that hole right there, look. We pick up our yarn. Oh, sorry. And then we take our hook back through above that loop that we found when we pulled them apart, and then you pull your wool through like so. Once you found that space, it's much easier for you to then navigate through, and we're just going to do 2 into there. Then we're going to move 2 loops across. So if we look at the top, we can kind of move 2 across there, and we'll go into the middle one, the middle loop, which was our second treble, and do the same again like so. And then we'll just have a look and we'll see what it looks like in a second. We'll do the same again, move 2 across. So again, it's about stitch placement, but you can tell now it's getting quite kind of hard to move things across at this point. So this is where it gets a little bit fiddly. So you go underneath, back, and that loop is sitting there, right there, look. Take your wool over and then pull back through. Now you might find that you're happy working on one size hook. That's perfectly fine. And then before we get to the last one, we're going to leave this 2 there, and we'll go leave the 2 that side. So we've got another 2 to do. It is fiddly, I know, and it will take you a while to do, but just take your time, even if you just do 5 at a time. But it'll be so worth it, because it really is an investment in your blanket and just giving it that final flourish of 3D textures. And you can see how I'm having to really manipulate and push it round so I can work. So you can see it's not something that's just going to naturally happen. It's not going to be something that just goes, oh yeah, you flow into it, there's a stitch head. You are literally sculpting with the wool. Okay, and then you do that last one, and then you should have a nice little mushroom head to work into. So we had 1 double crochet there sitting in the chain space. We moved the first loop over and did 2 double crochet there. We skipped 2, and then we did another 2 double crochet there. We skipped 2 again and did another double crochet there. We skipped 2 again and did another double crochet there, and then we did 1. All of which was worked underneath that that front post double crochet that we did. So I know it's fiddly, and I do recommend that you make a sample piece so that you can kind of get your head around it, because the blanket is heavy and you will find it a little bit cumbersome when it comes to being able to lift your wool up and manoeuvre it. Only do a couple at a time. Don't worry about doing loads. You know, just take your time. Why is that not focusing? And just do a couple at a time. Don't think you've got to finish a whole row. I know you're going to want to, but the minute you get frustrated, the minute you feel like your hands are not doing what you want them to do, stop, put down, have a cup of tea, have a cake, whatever, and come back to it later. There's no point trying to continue when you're frustrated, because it'll just get worse. I know this because I've experienced it. So there you go. And then in between each one, we're going to add 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is because that chain 4 there is okay. It's okay because it corresponded to that. But because we're pulling in, we're losing that length. So we need to add on that length in order for it to be able to manoeuvre. Otherwise, it's going to get really, really tight. Okay? So let's just do one more, or at least start one more so we can see how that works. Okay, and you can see now how that just sits nicely. It's not pulling too tight, and then when we come to work on the next row, we'll be working around them, so it will pull all these together and they won't be visible. Okay, and it just looks nice with everything else. So there you go. I hope that video has helped explain a bit more, because I just feel like I was just concerned that the other video might be a bit cumbersome, but I think it's hard not for this not to be cumbersome, if I'm honest. But there you go. Okie doke, there we go, my lovelies. That is the extra video for our mushroom patch, and yeah, there you go.